so much that it will hardly resemble the old normal from just a few months ago. Everybody wants to see the old normal come back, but it's gone forever. The ones who enjoy the new future will be the ones who are flexible and can adapt. So that's the key. You've got to be, in fact, the older you are, the harder that can be because you have things fixed in place from the old normal. You have a lot of things that are based in the old normal. So it's hard to release that for those of you who are older, all right? For those of you who are younger, you have nothing to lose. Actually, none of you have anything to lose. You have everything to gain by just easing into this new normal, accept what is, and just don't take things personally. Just don't stress out to the point where you find yourself in fear and frozen. All right, that's what it's really all about. Okay, Ray, what do we have, honey?
Well, we have Mary.
Mary, we always love having you,
Mary
Mary.
Elizabeth. Hi, Mary Elizabeth. Joy.
Joy, great.
Rebecca again just came in. Hi, Rebecca.
Great, Rebecca.
That's on the Facebook feed, and there's more people on your YouTube channel.
Okay, you guys. So feel free to ask your questions or leave your comments about tonight's insight. It's impossible to navigate the future without a compass. So what's your compass? Ray, what do you have?
Well, you know me, I always put my 2 cents worth in and do a little background here, but
What Ray does is he takes these insights that we channel from my guides, and he goes out on the internet and he does some research. So he interfaces this world with the world I'm coming from. So it merges. It makes sense. All right.
it's kind of like checks and balances.
It is. Right?
It is.
Yeah.
All right. So I thought this week's insight revolved around two things. Using making decisions, first of all, with your inner compass, which would be
That's what this is all about.
right with your intuition, all right,
Right.
as your inner compass,
Right.
and then what kinds of decisions do you have to make with it every day? Okay.
You mean what kind of decisions do you have to make with that inner compass now that we're in a new normal?
Yeah, this new normal that nobody expected.
That's what's different about it now. The compass, the inner compass, the intuition, interface that with this new normal. And what do you come up with? Okay, what do you have, Ray?
Well, I was astounded to find out that the average person makes around 35,000 decisions every day. And they're all kinds, there's basically six kinds of decisions, and they can all have good or bad consequences, depending on what a good decision maker you are. Would you like to hear what those kind of decisions are?
Make it fast, Ray.
Okay, you can make an impulse decision. Everybody's made an impulse decision when they saw something
that you want
late at night on eBay, after you've had a couple of beers. Oh yeah, I want one of those. That's an impulse decision. You can make a compliance decision where you make a decision because you don't want to upset anybody.
Yeah.
You don't want to upset anybody at work. So I'll go along with the crowd. That's called a compliance decision. You can make a delegating decision where you don't want to make a decision, so you push it off on somebody else to make it for you. You can make avoidance or what they call deflection decisions, where you're avoiding the responsibility and also the consequences right now. Push it off to later. I'll come back and look at it tomorrow. I'll push it up, kick a can down the road type decisions.
This is especially harmful when you get your intuition, when you know something just came through for you that points you in a certain direction, and you act like Ray just said. You go, I'll do it later. It's not convenient right now. I can't be bothered with it right now. I don't know. Maybe it's all in my head and I'm making it up. It isn't even yours, and it came through you, and you're
You're pushing it off.
yeah. It's really interesting because how did that happen? How did we wind up assuming that that's the right way to handle something that we don't really know how to grasp? Here's an interesting insight around that. Look what the financial industry's done, the Wall Street, the financial markets have done. They've been kicking the can down the road for 12 years now, since the 2008 crash. They just took everything and they solved it with a bunch of bailouts and a bunch of uh, what is it called, EQs, or what are they called? What are those called?
They gave them all kinds of stimulus, and they had the what do they call it, equity something or other. They gave all the mega banks and all.
They gave all the one percenters. It's going to happen, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
In other words, let me finish this. This is not meant to work. I'm just telling you that what's going on in our economy, what's going on in the system, it is not designed to work. It was designed to kick the can down the road while the people didn't really cause too much trouble. Okay, as long as the people, the masses, didn't cause too much trouble, then they could get away with that. But you know what? You guys are wising up, and they even know it. That's why they've been throwing money at the people, lots of it.
Right. That's different.
And all it's doing, it's kicking the can. It feels good. You got a little relief. That's good. But really, what it's doing is it's just kicking the can down the road longer. And anytime that this happens, where they manipulate the markets and they put it off, okay, what's called a correction. This has been the longest span we've had between recessions.
Yeah.
In a really long time. And the longer it gets put off, and the deeper the country is in debt, and we have this huge debt, deficit. The longer that goes on, the worse it gets when the correction comes. I want to say this the reason I'm bringing this to your attention, it gets to look like debt's okay. Like even you guys think, well, everyone's in debt. The country's in debt. Seems to be working okay. So it must be okay for me to be in debt. It's just part of the way that we do things. You find yourself justifying it, just like Wall Street and the financial markets have justified it. But you guys, when the chicken comes to roost, when the reality hits, it's going to be devastating. That's why you guys need to, even though they're kicking the can down the road even more by throwing money at you, be even more conservative with what you have here. And Ray's going to get into this in a little bit, but it's about, if you have gratitude on your side, if you exist in a state of gratitude, you won't be wanting all that stuff that you see them pushing at you on TV and on the internet, everybody else. You don't need all that stuff. It's nothing but something that's going to burden you as you move through this. This is about, and I'm going to read this last sentence. It's not the whole insight, but I read a few, excerpts out of it. The ones who enjoy the new future will be the ones who are most flexible and can adapt. It's the third summary, right? And can adapt. So you need to adapt. Take that money, be conservative with what you have, be grateful for what you have, and be conservative with what you have, and spend your time looking and researching. You guys there's no excuse to be ignorant, not with the internet. You've got everything you need to do your research. But if you're doing your research in fear, you're going to miss it.
You will.
Okay, go ahead.
And you mentioned 2008. The banks needed a big bailout, right?
Yeah.
And so they got all this money, the mega banks especially, and the Wall Streeters and the investment banks got all this money to buoy themselves up. That's what it was. They were stuck. And what did they do with it? They went right back to doing exactly what they were doing, only more of it.
I know.
And
They
that
didn't
brings
learn.
us to here.
Right, Ray. It's terrible. It's way worse than you think it is. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Okay. Oh, and one of our audience members said words you were looking for, the QE, was quantitative easing,
Perfect.
or as they called it, quantitative sleazing. That's
Is
about what it was.
is that what they call
Yeah,
it?
quantitative sleazing.
You got
That's
that,
exactly
man. That's
right.
what it was.
Okay.
And it's now becoming a big crescendo. Okay, go ahead, Ray.
Okay. So the last two kinds of decisions are balancing decisions, where you weigh the evidence on several things and to make the best decision in that moment. Okay.
Right.
And then the last one is prioritizing decisions. These are decisions that have the greatest impact right now. So you have to know, which one am I going to do first? Which one will I do second? And so forth. You prioritize your decisions. So by applying that whole structure of which one of those six kind of decisions are you going to make, that's the first decision you make all day. You decide to apply all those rules to your decision making every morning.
You don't think of it like the way Ray's breaking it down, but it's a process that we all go through. Okay, we don't think about it in the little nigglies like Ray's explaining it, but that's how it breaks down when you put it under a microscope. All right.
Yeah, people will now that they know, they will find themselves making some of those decisions that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's why it's important, you guys. When I talk about in my guided journey in part 3, write down what's going on with you before you leap. Okay. Before you make a decision. Okay. Write down what that intuition was, what you felt, what drew you to even consider that decision. All right. And if you were being pressured by somebody to make it, that's not intuition. All right. I'm going to use an example. By the way, do we have any questions, Ray?
Not yet.
All right. Bring the questions on. Okay. Let's get down on this thing. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit here. I remember when I was a kid, I was about 10 years old. My mom and dad were adventurers. They took us on expeditions, really, that people do dramatizations about now. They do dramas about it. They do, biographies about it. We really went on these amazing excursions that were, in this one case, we went to Yellowstone National Park, and my parents took us back into a lake that was way, way, way deep in. All right. No, there were no homes. There were no people. There were only grizzly bears.
Yes.
Okay. And there was a lake there where my mom and dad went fishing, and it was really, really in the wilderness. This was in 1960, I'm going to say 61, 62, right there. I didn't write this in guided. Some of the things that happened in my life, many things, I didn't write in guided because there's just how much more could I write, But in this situation, we went way deep in. We walked probably 12 miles or more to go deep in. My mom and dad they were out of the box, so to speak. So we got all the way in. They went fishing. We had our little sandwiches with us, and we had lunch, and then it was time to come back before it got dark. I mean, you don't want to be out in the wilderness in the dark, especially when you haven't been where we went before. All right. And we didn't use markers, like breadcrumbs going in, so we could find our way out. I mean, usually that's what a person would do.
That's where you tie the tree with a string.
Yeah, or you mark something on the tree, all right, or whatever, as you move through it. So you make sure you don't get lost going back. So anyway, the family took off, and I don't know. I guess I got sidetracked or distracted or something, and I lost touch with where they were going. And then I was lost. And I guess who had all the food on them?
Yeah, you had all the peanut butter sandwiches in your backpack?
I was the one that carried the food. And that was dangerous because the peanut butter sandwiches, the grizzly bears could smell it miles away. All right. So anyway, I got lost and I panicked and I got really fearful. And I wandered off trying to just panicking. And then all of a sudden I realized, and I got the intuition to stop. I sat on this log And I started breathing. This is what you do when you need to gather yourself up. I started breathing. I learned it at 20 months old when I first met my guides, when they saved my life from my mom. And I was breathing, and all of a sudden my head started to clear up. And I started to feel better, and I wasn't scared anymore, and I wasn't panicking. And I got the guidance to retrace my steps, how I got where I was, go back to where I was before I panicked. I found my way back to that spot, and then I could feel the compass, the intuition, the inner guidance system when you're not freaked out. If you guys are under any condition, your compass will not work for you. If you are panicking and you are in fear, it cuts the guidance right off. All you are is just in this world where if this is all you have, that's a frightful place to be. Okay, this is not all you have. You have where you came from before you came here. You have those who followed you here. Those are your guides. And when you calm down, they can meet you in this world and they can point you true north. And they pointed me in a direction that I never questioned. I walked that way, and my family had turned around, coming back looking for me, and I bumped right into them.
That's
I mean,
pretty scary.
this was really something. And I would have died that night. There's no question about it. And I didn't even think, see, I was only like 10 years old. I didn't even think I was a target because I had all that food.
Yeah, at least I won't be hungry.
I won't be hungry, but
I'll be lost.
yeah, but unfortunately, neither would the bears, once they found me, right? So anyway, that that's how it works. You have to calm yourself down. I don't care what's going on. I don't care how radical the situation is. You absolutely will never make a good decision, like Ray was talking about, with all those decisions, all those options you have to pick from. There's only one option. There is only one, and that is to be connected, and that is to remove the fear so the guidance can reach you. You can be present and make that true north decision. It works every single time.
That's exactly when I was looking at some articles today. One of the major reasons why people put off decisions, they have too many choices.
Right.
And it's I had that recently. I bought a couple pairs of exercise shorts, okay? And I had some that got ruined in the washing machine. And there was like 25 pages of choices of exercise shorts. And I went back there like three nights in a row and finally bought the cheapest ones that had pockets.
I'm going to make a statement about that. Do you guys remember when buying stuff used to be fun? You go in and, there were, you go to buy something and there were three choices. I don't know. It wasn't all these choices. And things, first of all, things weren't as expensive as they are now. It was more fun. It wasn't as serious as it is now. The first house I ever bought at 19, brand new house, was $19,000. 19. That same house right now, I looked it up. I just happened to look it up. Is $400,000. What? So there's a lot of fear put on people about, buying in at this point. At this point, okay, is it going to be okay? Probably, it depends on how fast you get in and out. It's a big game, you guys. It's kicking the can down the road, kicking it down the road, looking at the risk that's building up, and every one of us can feel that. So how do you do this? How do you connect with this compass and have this intuition working for you? How do you manage your impulses? You quit wanting things so much, and you come from gratitude. Gratitude is present. It's being in the present moment. Gratitude doesn't exist in the past. Gratitude doesn't exist in the future. Gratitude has no regrets. Okay. It doesn't anticipate anything. It's in the moment. And when you have gratitude and you get presented with something, you are not nearly as likely to leap into that and expose yourself to all that risk. All right. Your compass, if you're off over here and you're in the future and you're thinking, oh, I got to beat the market. I've got to, what if I buy it now and sell it in a year from now? What if you're trying to beat the market? You're trying to beat the game that's already way out of control. You can't, you will never be present doing that. And gratitude has nothing to do with it. You are out of the gratitude zone and you're letting things push you around.
They said in the article I saw today, a couple of the articles, the best decision that you can make at the time, in the present moment, is the decision that gives you more gratitude in your life and less regrets.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right.
And it's a present moment feeling. The gratitude is right now.
Then if you get guidance that gives you information to move on something that has to do with that future, you can count on that being true. That's your compass telling you the truth. Okay. But you've got to be coming from gratitude. It can't be coming from, I want that. I need that. I got to have that. No. Oh, I got to beat the market. I know I can do it. Okay. No, that won't be, that's coming from you. Okay. But when you're in gratitude and then it comes through you, not from you, then you can rely on that. That's your compass. Okay. That's how you do it. But you got to write it down. If you're still jacked up and still leap and jump and you're still moved by what everyone else is doing and fearful about missing something. See, fear isn't always something that takes you down. Fear can also be something about your fear of loss, moving forward. Fear of loss, and all that. You can feel the difference between being in gratitude, being present, and being all jacked up about all this stuff out there. If you're coming from that wrong energy, that is not your compass, and that is not where your intuition can come into play, where your guides come in and guide you.
5 minutes ago, you mentioned one thing that really plays into making decisions is that you have too many choices. And
that's on purpose. That is on purpose to confuse you,
right? To
keep you out here. Okay.
The thing
that's what that is.
When you have too many choices, those involve too many outcomes, too many different types of outcomes, and having the too many approximate good outcomes that all involve risk makes you have to. It's mentally draining because it makes you have to look at each one of them intently and measure against the other, measure the outcome. It drives you crazy. So what was interesting,
that's right.
How many is too many choices? And the consensus seemed to be that if you have 12, more than 12 choices, people get overwhelmed. But if they have less than 6, less than half a dozen versus a dozen, they feel cheated.
You've been moved that way. Over the decades, you've been moved that way. You used to be happy with 3 choices.
Yeah, that was a good example you gave of 3 choices. When we were kids,
good, better, best.
Good, better, best. Sears. Milk. There was only 3 kinds of milk. Regular milk, chocolate milk.
In other words,
stuff my father liked.
It was always there to their advantage to keep you confused. And to get you to doubt yourself. As soon as you did that, this world had a real grip on you. In doubt precedes fear. If you let doubt creep in and let it fester, fear comes next. And then you are in a big pile of bad stuff. All right.
Yeah.
And that's where you really lose a grip on all this. So the minute you see the doubt start to rear its head, right in part 3, the journal writing part about the doubt that just creeped in, so you can put it on the pages, get it out of here, put it on the page, and then ask yourself how it felt. That's the second qualifying question. And then what you realized, you will wake up. You've got to realize it for yourself. and the action you're going to take, or non-action. At that point, you just might say, you know, I almost got pulled into that. I almost bought that new car that I really could have done without. I mean, all the other costs associated with it, or, you know, all the maintenance now and all the, you know, all, I got to keep it clean and fix it. And okay, I mean, I like it for a week, but then it's the reality strikes, you know. So got to buy new tires every couple of years, and it's expensive. So you start to see the hole that you're digging for yourself based on the setup. And it wasn't that way all this time. I mean, some of you like are 30 or something, you don't remember what I'm talking about, but your parents do. Your parents remember. They may not be aware of it like this, but they remember it. You guys who are younger, and I'm getting a lot more younger people and also more men, you were pulled into it like it was just the norm, you know, the way things were, but it's not true. It's not true. You have to get back to gratitude for what you already have. All right. So you can breathe again, breathe again. When I sat on that log and I could breathe again, and the panic and the fear left me. And then I got the guidance, very subtle guidance is intuition. And it let me know what to do. And I moved that way. No panic, no hype, you know, none of that. No, none of that. That was all gone. And I moved right through it and found my way back.
This gratitude for what you have falls right into the decision you make, whether you want to be happy or not. You intentionally choose to be happy. People say, oh, no, you can't choose to be happy. Well, you choose to be happy because the people who are happy are not held hostage by their circumstances.
And that means they're in gratitude. That's simple. It's as simple as that. It is so easy just to be in gratitude. Now, I will say that not all of the things in your life are ideal. Not all the things in my life are ideal, you guys. I'm a work in progress, just like all of you. All right. When I need that insight, I need that guidance, I get quiet and I let them point me true north. And then I move that way. See, if you get the guidance and you get that compass pointing you in true north, in the right direction, that intuition, and you don't take the action, you missed it. I mean, you may as well just forget about all this. It's all about taking the action. And then you see results. You see results inching along. They connect, and they're connected to each other. It's like if I was to take Guided, and there's 28 chapters in Guided, and I was to read chapter 8, but I just didn't bother reading the rest of the book, I'd miss the whole point of the book. You miss the whole point of your life when you don't see how it's connecting. That's why I wrote the companion journal to Guided, so you guys could start to connect the dots, part 3, and 15 minutes a day, right in there, what's going on with you. You guys, it's about being conscious. Being conscious means being awake, being alert, being alive, being present. So you don't miss the guidance. So your compass works as it was intended to. You all came in with this. It's your inner GPS. You all came in with this. What happened in this world traumatized you, and I mean that. It traumatized you over and over and over again to make you doubt yourself. And then fear started. And then you were like, oh my God, I need someone to help me out of this. I'm in some big trouble here, you know? And that really blocks everything up. So
yeah, you know, this whole thing about not being held hostage by your circumstances,
right,
whatever your circumstances
right.
are. That means to be happy, you don't look for happiness in
outside
other people or
stuff.
Possessions.
Right.
Right.
That's right, Ray. That's exactly right. You guys you've been so programmed to do that, to reach out there. for that happiness. And the happiness is right here, you know. For me, I'll tell you where my happiness is. My happiness is in serving you. My happiness is in writing my books so I can serve you and you guys can get out of this trap. Okay. My happiness is helping you hear what the guides have to say, that guidance, that compass, that intuition. That's what this is. You don't need this to do that, but it's a good focal point to start getting your intuitive juices, your intuitive muscles working again. You came in with this, you guys. You're just taking it back. And when you take it back, for a little while, you might be a little angry about a few things that you let yourself be bamboozled by. It could happen. It happened to me, all right? I wasn't angry throughout my, throughout my childhood, really. And then in my early 20s, in my 20s up to the time I was 30, did I finally get through it, all right? But I worked through it. And I worked through it with this awareness, with this compass. And then one day, my guides come through. I was like 27 years old. I was really a success in real estate. I was an architect, a home builder, a general contractor, and a subcontractor. I was a land developer. I was all in, all right, in Sacramento, California. And one day they come to me after I got divorced and I sold all my real estate. I was absolutely out of everything just before the market crashed. And again, I was guided to get out at that time. And I did. My guides come through after that all blew over. And they said, real estate will never be the same for you again. I'm going, what? Really? It'll never be the same because your anger issues have been resolved. See, the guides come through and they tell you very subtly, very gently. You know the difference between the guidance when it comes through and when you hear it from this world, it screams at you. Okay, it shouts at you. It wants you to do what they want you to do. And your guides never do that. You know the difference. It's subtle. It's reassuring. It's loving. All right. That's what guidance feels like. So I was after real estate, after that was all over, they were right about that. Real estate never was the same for me again. Never. And I did work through my anger issues. It's amazing. And they set me up for that whole thing so I could work through it. See how that works? It's beautiful, you guys. You have the same exact asset that I have. So do we have any questions?
No.
Are you guys just mesmerized or what?
Yeah, one girl says here, Chastity Bias says, I feel your passion.
Yeah.
She has passion.
Yeah. And you all have that. You all came in with that. You all came in to live your life, not some life where the powers that be and the corporations and everybody who's got something to benefit by you doing what they want, taking control of you, causing you to get yourself in debt, buried underneath things that feels like you can never get out of them. Get yourself in relationships that aren't good for you because you didn't trust yourself. Okay, you didn't know who you were. That's where it all starts from. So getting to know who you are, get guided. Any of you who haven't read Guided, I also produce Guided in audiobook format, audiobook, paperback, and Kindle. And I read the book myself. So the author reads it, right? And I sell way more audiobooks than I do any other format of the book. But it will help you get your head around this and how you can push back when you know you're being pushed into something that's not right for you. So your compass can begin to serve you. Your life is not supposed to be hard.
No, most people make their life hard.
Well, we don't know any different.
Because they made the wrong decision.
Yeah, you get pushed and shoved and threatened and feared into this life. It's no wonder that happens. I'll tell you what, when somebody tries to pull that on me, I get right in their face. And I let them know, no, back off. Okay. Or I see them do it to somebody else. Oh man, it's my Achilles heel. I step into action because I can't stand it. You know what it reminds me of? The bullies. My mother was number one bully, and then the kids in school, the bullies, and these are just more bullies trying to get you to do something that's not to your best interest.
Not to your benefit at all, only to their benefit.
Yeah. So you just have to catch them at it, you guys. And then everything that supported them, us being, I'm going to repeat this one thing again because it ties into this. When you were called a
Customer.
a customer,
Yeah.
that's when you were respected. Okay. And then sometime in the 70s, corporations started calling people consumers. Really? When did I become I'm not a consumer to me. I'm not a consumer. Who makes me a consumer? I'm the only one who could buy into that. So you catch these little tweaks along the way, you guys, and then they always let you know if only you're awake and alert to catch it. Okay, you're not a consumer. You may be a customer if you choose to be one, but you are a person. Okay,
right.
Nobody takes ownership of you, okay, to get you to do what they want. And this is where the doubt, oh, well, maybe I do need that. Maybe that would make me happier. Maybe that would make me feel good. Okay.
Pac-Man's a consumer.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? That was a symbol that came from the 80s. That's a symbol. When you see that symbol, catch on, that's them consuming you. You are so right when you said that.
Pac-Man's a consumer.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. I said that the other day.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
And perfect. And when you guys catch on to these little symbols, these little things that are going on, you see right through it. They're symbols that speak to the intention that's being put out there. All right.
That's right. Somebody gave the example here that human resources versus personnel. I was in the recruiting business and the human resources recruiting business for over 25 years.
Ray's amazing.
And the personnel department used to be touchy-feely. It was touchy-feely. It was more personal. But now it's human resources. We're going to manage them like cattle.
Right.
And the only function, it went from touchy-feely to human resources, whose
litigious.
Major goal is to keep the employees from suing the company.
It has no soul, you guys.
Absolutely not.
Great, honey, we have something over there.
We have, Rebecca says, how we make a decision to forgive or move forward in our lives with very close family members when these family members refuse to change. Okay, she's not judging them.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, they just refuse to change.
I got it. You don't have anyone to forgive.
Right. You
have to forgive yourself for putting up with it.
Yeah. That's right.
That's as simple as that. And what you need to do, Rebecca, is you need to find a way to get your life back. I know you've been going through this for a long time. You need to discover a way to get your life back. You need to find out in this world where you fit, where you really, really fit. And narrow it down into a focused intention. And then let your guides give you the heads up when it's showtime. And they will let you know. If you just go out there and haphazardly blast through it and make reckless, moves and you do things that would harm you, that's you making it happen. You need the help of those who followed you here to help you with this. All right. So you need to identify what it is. You need to find out the direction that you'd like to go. And you need to put out the SOS for help. and let it come through. If you don't write it down, you will forget what you asked for. And when these guides come through and bring you that information, that guidance, you will miss it.
Yeah, you can have all the good intentions in the world with your family members and your friends, but you will never change them. Or your mate that you're married to, you're not going to change them.
No, in fact, I got away from mine 31 years ago. And
Congratulations.
I had an encounter with my daughter when she discovered guided was out there, all right, about 2 or 3 years ago. And she flipped out. And
She actually said you made it all up.
well, the thing is they're going to say that. The thing is it's these people, to me, they seemed way more harsh and disturbed than I remembered them. I've been away from them for 31
That's
years.
it.
But you know what? They're probably just the same as they were. I just had such a great break from it all, that experiencing that, feeling the blow from that was like, God, she didn't learn anything in 31 years. She didn't learn anything. I am her mom. She had to learn something. But you know what? It doesn't work like that. You get better when you get out. You get better. You heal all that. Okay. And you realize you have no one to forgive. Here's the whole point. You can't forgive somebody who would tell you you don't need to forgive me. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not going to change. So what do you have to forgive? You have only yourself to forgive for putting up with it for as long as you did. Because they don't feel guilty about it. They don't feel bad about what they did. That's what's wrong with that.
And you can't forgive somebody for something they did if they keep on doing it.
They don't think they're doing anything wrong.
That's right.
They're fine the way they are.
You're the one that's all messed up.
You're the one that needs to find your own tribe. You're the people who align with you, the people who fit who you are. That's what you know really well.
That goes back to that one kind of decision. What was the one? Compliance decisions. You make a decision just to please everybody else. They want you to be just like them.
Well, there's a reason that you're tolerating it. And really, Rebecca, that's what you need to take a look at. You need to write to yourself. I started journal writing when I was 7 years old. It saved me. It really helped me see things absolutely clear. And 7 years old, I was 16 when I finally got out of there. So I had another 9 years of that childhood boot camp to serve before I was going to be out of it from the time I started journaling. So start somewhere. Start now. And then you will see it roll out. Your guides will come in and say, hey, we found an opportunity for you, a perfect situation for you to move in. And here it is, Rebecca. But you've got to be awake so you don't miss it when it comes through. You've got to write down what's going on with you so it can finally be delivered and you don't miss it.
Okay, you got some new people coming in right in the door now. Paul LaGreca. Hi, Paul, Marie, Catherine Inglesby, and Julie. Paul's an author. He's got a great book coming out.
No, wait, what's his last name?
Paul LaGreca in New York. He's got the one that
we
Child Behind the Cabinet.
Oh, I love
Check
that.
out it's not out yet, but you can pre-order it, I think, on Amazon.
Okay, spell his name.
Paul, B-A-U-L, capital L-A, capital G-R-E-C-A. Paul LaGreca.
I think it's coming out in September.
September or in the fall.
Yeah, in September, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a book. When I saw the book, I got chills, all right? And he had a real close connection to Mother Teresa. Paul did.
He even went to work for her.
Paul's a wonderful, gentle, beautiful man. So you guys need to make sure you don't miss that when that comes out. Paul, I recommend that you narrate the book and make sure you have an audiobook format for it. I can only tell you that the audiobook just supersedes any of the other formats. and read it yourself.
Yeah, especially when it's read by the author,
It's
the person
really,
who lived the story.
it's powerful.
Yeah, it was. We debated when a Guided first came out whether we were going to do an audiobook or not, and we did the audiobook 6 months after Guided came out, and it just took off.
I know.
80% of the sales were audiobooks.
So Paul, I would love to have a chat with you. Okay, you can go to my website and you can click on contact me, and you'll see my phone number. You can email me and let me know what a good time would be to talk. I would love to have a chat with you. Okay, so take me up on that.
And Paul's a famous actor too.
And I know. Put your name in the subject line so I don't miss it. I get a lot of email, right?
Yes, you do.
So I look forward to that. And we love your questions you had tonight, you guys. And this one about Pac-Man, I love it.
That was my favorite game. When that was popular, it was my favorite game.
Loved it.
Okay, here's an interesting Pac-Man trivia fact. If you take your finger and you put your finger in your ear and wiggle it, it makes the same sound as the Pac-Man game.
See how subliminal all that is, you guys?
Check it out.
I mean, there's so many things that really show us in our day-to-day life what's going on. If only we're awake, so we can see it, digest it, and then let that become part of our life, and so we're not bamboozled along the way. We can't say what's that.
Well, they're all I can see them all sticking their finger in their ear. They're going, ha!
They're trying.
I know. It's one of those trivia facts.
I love it. And you know what? This is Linda's Weekly Guided Insights tonight. It's impossible to navigate the future without a compass. You go to my website, lindadeer.com, and at the very top, you can see where it says, what are Linda's Weekly Guided Insights? Sign up for them. This is what these are about every Tuesday, all right? They're really good. And this is guidance from my spirit guides, talking to you guys about helping you navigate the uncertain world that you are now living in. We've been doing these for 6 years now.
Right.
And just recently, it's been really catching on. People finally know we're out there. Oh my God, it took that long.
What's interesting is they've been doing these for so long, and we went back and found from February 19th, 2019.
Yeah.
There was Linda's Weekly Guided Insight that predicted
what's going on right now.
Things that are going on right now.
Yeah. In fact, in next week's Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, the guides are going to talk about that, and the connected insight that Ray talked about, where they described this February 5th of 2019. Yeah. Amazing, you guys. So if you've been watching the insights, if you've been reading the insights, you would have been more prepared for what's going on. But it's not too late. There's a lot more coming. All right. So don't get caught off guard. Stay on your toes. All right. We'll keep you there. All right. So I'm going to move on with this, Ray. And we're going to close the session with the closing message from the spirit guides about this session tonight. So hang in there with me. I'm going to do a few announcements. So join me next Tuesday, June 9th. I will be streaming live on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and on my YouTube channel. Use the search term, Linda Deer. This will be a Q&A and commentary for next Tuesday's Insight published in Linda's Weekly Guided Insights with me, Ray, and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So don't miss it. In Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, my spirit guides will be talking about the societal breakdown we predicted February 19th is now here. This is really going to be interesting. What does this societal breakdown look like? What is causing it, and why is it happening? The only reason that society reaches a breaking point like the one you are experiencing now is when the imbalance between the rich and poor is strained. The recent death of a Black man was the tipping point, setting the societal breakdown into motion. This imbalance will prove to be fatal and the downfall of your republic. Now, how do you like that? These are the guides speaking, not me, not Ray. So don't miss that one. You want to be signed up for these insights. Start getting Linda's weekly guided insights delivered to your email box each Tuesday. It's free. Look for the link in the description of this video. And this Saturday, I will, at 1 p.m. Pacific time, on my Facebook page, my Facebook timeline, and on my YouTube channel, Linda Deer, I will be reading chapter 8 from Guided at 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's about a half hour, 20 minutes to half hour is how long these take. I'm reading from each chapter each Saturday, except for the last Saturday of the month, and that's when we have our webinars. They're covert. They're not for everyone to see, and that's where the guides really get into some.
They talk about a lot of things that they wouldn't talk about in an open
Right.
forum like this.
That's right. Okay. Keeps us out of trouble. Okay. And get the replay of our last webinar from last Saturday, May 30th, entitled A Message from the Light Beings, the State of the World as We See It. With Linda Deer, Ray Hawley, and the Light Beings. The Light Beings talked about what you need to know right now to get through the rest of this year without worry. So look for the link for that in the description of this video. And before we close this session, if my work, my books, these insights, these live events, these webinars, if they help you in any way, tell your friends. Make sure you share what we do here, all right? You can even share these videos. That would be great, all right? All right. And the spirit guides are going to close the session with their closing message to you. And by the way, when we bring these insights through, this is how we bring them through. We channel them. It doesn't come from us. It comes through us. All right. And this is about, it's impossible to navigate the future without a compass.
Navigating the future is best by listening to your own internal compass, your intuition. Next, decide with intention what course you're going to take. Always choose decisions that give you more gratitude in your life and not more regrets. Never look for happiness in life, in other people, and possessions.
We administrate our own relief valve. We never buy into it. Stay calm, stay present, stay in gratitude. And you are not a target for any of that. If you feel your energy getting worked up and you start buying into all that hype and everything, go take a run.
Yeah.
Exercise, do something, exert yourself, blow all that off until you can get back to your center, get back to your gratitude for what you already are, for what you already have. Write it down in your journal so you can track your steps until you become conscious and you're no longer so easy to maneuver and to figure and to what's the right word for it? To figure out and control.
And continue your consumerism.
That's what happens is there you've been too easy to figure out and maneuver.
Right.
And it happened because you forgot about your present moment. You forgot about what you already have. You forgot about your gratitude. Okay? That's where your compass works the best. That's where your intuition is stellar. All right. You guys, Maybe I'll see you Saturday.
Saturday,
I'll see you next Tuesday.
right? There you go. Those Saturday things are a lot of fun.
They're great.
It's like having Linda read your bedtime story. Good night, everybody.
Good night.